10 months, the iPhone X that got sold out in 10 minutes got removed from the Apple Store like a tenant getting kicked out without notice, only to be replaced almost 10 days later by iPhone XS and XS Max, the new iPhones that were announced 10 in the morning on a September day.
And kids, that's how the iPhone X became iPhone X. But that's okay because I love S and I cannot lie. Apple does a design change with every new number and then they perfect it with the S series. Think about it. iPhone 3G, 4, 5, 6, 7 all had new design and a new issue that they fixed later in the S series.
Except for iPhone X. No one talked about this, but iPhone X was the first new design that didn't have any sensational gate.
Also, when S comes out, you can find a lot of accessories because it's been out for a year. 10 months in this case. S series is kind of like the reward for those who like to wait. It is the iPhone I recommend always. I was very unhappy with the names when I first heard it, but I think I know what Apple is doing. They're getting out of that confusion game. S6, 6S, OnePlus 6, S Plus. No, you just walk in and you go, I want that Max X thingy.
And boom! Tim is your uncle. Alright, we've been chatting for almost 2 minutes. Let's get to unboxing. And here it is! Actually, here they are! iPhone XS and XS Max comes in these nicely designed boxes. You can take the wrapping off kindly, normally, or you can just cut it open. Inside the box you're greeted with the usual suspects. Papers which hints wireless charging pad, stickers, toothpick, blow dryer for Smurfs, USB to lightning cable, 5-watt charge... 5-watt? What? I really wanted to have a fast charger with this device. It didn't need to be a 30-watt charger, it could have been something small like what Samsung comes with. A 15-watt charger would have been enough. I also wanted to see a USB-C to lightning cable, and in case you don't have a wireless headphone, Apple also removed the $9 headphone jack adapter. Because courage. But now, it's time for the most important test. The sizzle test. Oh yeah, that's the stuff. iPhone XS and XS Max's body is stainless steel and it has physical vapor deposition coating on it. It has a newly formulated glass and Apple says it is sturdier than iPhone X. iPhone XS has 5.8, XS Max has 6.5-inch 458 ppi display. And if you're wondering why there are scanning lines on these screens like your grandmother's TV in your kitchen, it's simply because these screens are made by Samsung. But don't worry, this is not something you can see with your bare eyes. But if I slow down the footage, you can see how much they flicker. On the other hand, as you can see, iPhone 8 and 8 Plus that are in the middle have LCD screens and they don't flicker at all. iPhone XS and XS Max has the 2.5 GHz 7nm 6-core A12 Bionic chip, which makes iPhone XS the first 7nm smartphone on the market, which is a big deal actually. The CPU benchmark results show that iPhone XS and XS Max is faster, but the real difference shows itself when you run the same tests while the phones are in the low power mode. When it comes to compute scores, iPhone XS and XS Max is ahead again. Actually, in the low power mode, the XS's score is higher than the other's regular score. After the long GFX bench test, the S series once again scored higher, and after all these tests, these phones did not overheat. Now if you're wondering what all those numbers mean in real life, let me show you what happens when you launch the Justin Bieber of video games, Fortnite. iPhone XS launches the game in just 29 seconds, where Note 9 launches it in almost a minute regardless of its screen resolution. iPhone XS Max has the biggest battery in an iPhone. On the other hand, iPhone XS's battery is smaller than iPhone X, but because the devices are more power efficient, it should last longer, according to Apple. iPhone XS and XS Max has faster Face ID, but it still doesn't work when you hold it sideways. And to see how faster it is, first I tried turning the screens on at the same time, but I'm not sure if it gives you a proper comparison. That's why I like to turn them on one by one.
So there you go, it's almost twice as faster.
Apple did a remarkable update to the cameras as well. Yes, megapixel count is the same. Rear cameras are 12 megapixel and the front-facing camera is 7 megapixel, but the sensors are new. And the wide-angle lens has a bigger sensor and the pixel size is now 1.4 micrometers. So the photos you take will look better because each pixel will capture more light. In the portrait mode, iPhone XS has exceeded my expectations, even in this extremely low light situation. This is such an impressive photo for me. The highlights are tamed and there is detail in the shadows. Apple took their camera game to a new level with this one. Now, let's take a look at these photos. The one on the right is shot on Sony a7R III with 12-24 f4G lens. So what we're looking at here is a $1,000 64GB iPhone XS next to a $4,000 camera. And if you go and change your f-stop on the iPhone, you'll end up with this. Also, when they talked about the background blur during the keynote, they didn't emphasize enough what this phone is doing to the background. It's not just trying to add some blur to it, it's trying to imitate the f-stop change on an actual lens.
As you can see, this is just blurring the background, but this is adding bokeh. See, that's the difference. That is what they were talking about. And I think iPhone XS is just nailing it. We're in the dark.
New optic stabilization system makes a very noticeable difference compared to iPhone X while walking, and it seems a little better while running. In the video mode, once again, it is possible to see iPhone XS's extended dynamic range. Apple also added cinematic stabilization to front-facing camera, which by the way now can shoot 60 frames per second in 1080p.
Alright, now let's see the stabilization. Walking. Alright, now I'm gonna start running.
iPhone XS and XS Max has 4 microphones and it can shoot a video with stereo sound. Listen to this with your special ears.
Also, I realized something else. Now we can play with these settings. You see it live. Stage light mono, the stage light, you see them live, you don't see them live here. It just shows a circle, so you know if you're getting the shot or not in that setup, because that's the most difficult one. You have to elongate your neck, that's the trick.
These phones also have wider sounding stereo speakers, and this is very difficult to demonstrate over a video. You have to hear it for yourself, but that shouldn't stop us from our speaker test.
Chasing boogeyman. What? Hi Tim, where you going with a phone in your hand? Chasing boogeyman. Chasing boogeyman. Don't you know you may fall in a lake? Chasing boogeyman. Chasing boogeyman. Chasing Ecuador, chasing Arkansas. Chasing boogeyman. Chasing boogeyman. Chasing Nidonki, chasing Jigima. Chasing boogeyman. Chasing boogeyman. Chasing boogeyman. Chasing boogeyman.
Like I said, the video doesn't make justice at all. You have to hear it in person. It is pretty impressive.
They also have 4 antennas and gigabit LTE, and boy, does that make a difference. Now let's talk about shortcuts. Shortcuts is actually a very big deal because now when it comes to Siri, the limit is not Siri anymore, it is you. Well played, Apple. Well played.
GIF.
Well, we agree on that one.
My name is Max.
I am a power user. So yes, 5.8-inch screen, which is as big as iPhone 8 Plus, was really nice. But I always would prefer a bigger screen like this. But since this device doesn't have a chin and doesn't have a forehead except this part where they squeezed in that Kinect sensor, is it head heavy? And by that I mean, is it gonna fall down? Is it heavier on this side or on this side? I think we can test it. I think it's nicely balanced. Of course, just like what happened when iPhone 6 Plus came out, some apps are not ready for Macs. Apple has been sending developers emails telling them to update their apps as fast as they can. So unless they are Google, I think most of the apps will be updated as fast as possible. So if you see an app that looks like a giant office calculator, don't worry, it will be fixed soon.
iPhone XS and XS Max has IP68 water resistance. It can survive in 2-meter deep water for 30 minutes.
But they didn't stop there. So it's not just water resistant, it's also beer resistant, tea resistant, and coffee resistant. So if you forget to pick up that stick from Starbucks, you can stir your coffee with your iPhone. Just make sure the lightning port is dry before connecting it. Also, these iPhones support dual SIM right now. It has an eSIM in it, just like the SIM we have on our watch with cellular connection or some iPads. Now you'll be able to use 2 phone lines on your phone. And if you live in China, I don't know how you're watching YouTube, but you'll be able to get an iPhone with dual SIM ports. Also, they have the new NFC. Now, when you hold this phone to scan an NFC, it's gonna launch the app by itself.
If you have an iPhone X, this may not be the update you're looking for. But if you have an older phone and if you like to upgrade to something that will look premium, feel premium, and last a long time, I say don't hesitate and get one.
Well, thank you very much for watching this episode and I hope you enjoyed it. Please hit that subscribe button. I must have a subscribe button somewhere here on the screen. Hit that subscribe button and play Ding Dong Ditch with the bell next to it and join the world domination. And please let me know what you think about iPhone XS and XS Max in the comment section below. And until I see you the next time, which is probably going to be the Apple Watch review. I have the Apple Watch. Until I see you with that review, take really good care of yourselves. And hoşça kalın.